So we've got to talk about a big issue that's really hurting elementary teachers and making it nearly impossible to get to all the things inside of their literacy block, which then leads to a chronic amount of stress and overwhelm and then not getting to reading groups. So let's dive right into this very important topic today, and hopefully you're going to leave feeling refreshed and like you have a perfect strategy to tackle your literacy block. Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm a 5th grade teacher who helps teachers just like you streamline your literacy block with lots of tips and tricks here on YouTube to help you realign what you value as a teacher during literacy time so that you can teach those reading groups. And lately, I've heard from many teachers just like you who are completely stressed out at the beginning of the school year. Literacy is such a comprehensive subject. There's so many things to cover, and we're just given a curriculum book and we're told to teach what's inside of it, and we're not really given a lot of instruction. Unless you're fortunate and your district gave some kind of training with your curriculum, oftentimes they hand you something new and they just expect you to know what to do with it. Furthermore, you're teaching every other subject. You have maybe 5 to 6 other preps as an elementary teacher, and literacy is one piece of that. But within literacy, it feels like there are 5 to 6 different preps because there's so much to cover. So my hope for you at the end of this video is that you'll feel like you have a plan and a real strategy, and you'll be teaching your reading groups within the next month's time effortlessly and feeling really good about doing so. So probably one of your issues right now is there's a lack of structure to your literacy block. You have this thick curriculum that tells you, okay, whole group, then your word work lesson, here's a mini lesson, now incorporate writing, and it all seems completely overwhelming, and unless you had extra hours in the day, there's no possible way to plan it out carefully the way that you want to. And a lot of teachers will lose sleep over this and spend lots of their extra time and have really no free time, and they start to not enjoy their life outside of school. And I want you to have a better way of planning for literacy that doesn't consume all of your time. So I'm going to give you the quickest fix and give you some strategies to implement, and I can't wait to see what you do with them. So the fix really for me is implementing the daily 5. Now remember, you can teach your whole group lesson before you start daily 5 stations. Daily 5 allows you to sprinkle in all the components of your literacy curriculum in a way that feels a lot easier than just trying to one at a time teach every single thing. So let me explain. I like to start with the whole group lesson. I follow the literacy curriculum. I really do use that tier 1 time to give everybody the same access, regardless of the levels in your classroom. They're hearing the same rich language and getting the same lesson, and I can be sure of that with the whole group lesson. From there, there's always going to be some kind of mini lesson that's around the topic of word work, sometimes called word study. And you know I have many other videos on this as well. I'm very passionate about having that as an active part of your daily 5. It's one of the stations, and the way to do that is by using what your literacy curriculum has. Hopefully it has something. I've talked to quite a few educators that have nothing for that, and so I do feel for you in that regard if you don't have something for word work. That's going to be another mini lesson that should occur every single day. If you have a great curriculum that's science of reading based, there should be something that they're learning every week, and then there's a new lesson that goes along with the same topic. So let's say that we're working on prefixes for words, then that's going to be the topic for the week, and then every day of the week I will have something different activity-wise that my students are practicing after they've received the mini lesson that helps refresh their memory. When they go to their daily 5 station, they're going to work on that topic independently. They submit it to me. I check their work. If I need to pull them back for a small group to reteach something, that's how I know that. I'm not going home and grading a ton of things at night because I'm looking at it during my plan time, or quickly between a group I'm checking in with students. I know this can be a lot of work if you have a rather large class, but the whole point of it is to really teach those strategies to our students in a way that is palatable and that you're not having to assess so many things. So that is one of the best ways to incorporate that into your literacy block, is by including it in one of the daily 5 stations as a mini lesson right before you start teaching. The way that daily 5 works, after you you've taught the whole group lesson and then perhaps you have a mini lesson is I like to dive right into the stations. And if you've never watched any of my videos before, I'll give you the brief version of how I like to introduce the stations. When I'm building stamina with students for the first time, I always start with read to self. I have a whole video on read to self. I have many other videos as well that talk about building stamina. So the order that I like to do is aligned with the way that Daily 5 begins it. So read to self, work on writing, listen to reading, word work, then book club. So that's how I pull the kids over and they get to work with me in a small group setting. So my students have to build stamina in every single one of those stations independently for 15 minutes before we can move on to the next one. Once you've built the stamina in the entire literacy block for every single station, that's when you start openly rotating. So one table of kids might have a different activity going on for every single kid. They're not rotating as a center station together. The whole point of Daily 5 is that they're working independently so you can pull reading groups, whatever you want to call them, a small group. You could be working on a skill. It could be a skill-based group. It could be on a chapter book that everybody's reading together. That's up to you as the teacher and how you like to organize your book club. But that is the point of it, and your students are working independently because you've trained them to do so. So the fix that's going to help with the big mistake with your literacy block is that you're overwhelmed with the planning piece of it. And I completely get that. You are flipping through your week-long curriculum for literacy and there's so many pages and there's so much to do. So what I like to do is have a one-page document just for the week or for the day for literacy. And I like to plan it out by taking what I've read inside of my curriculum book and just putting it in like shorthand note on the paper. This allows me to conceptualize what I'm actually going to teach for the week, what I need to cover, and how I'm going to structure and organize it, making sure that I'm getting through everything. I'm not writing a novel on this thing. It's literally shorthand. I'll plug in my book club groups. I'll talk about the mini lessons. You could have one page per day, or you could have this for the whole week. And I actually have a free Daily 5 planner that you can grab today and use the way that I use it. And I'll add that in the description box below. I have a YouTube video that goes along with it. So when you download this freebie, it comes with a short video on how to edit it, because I have a version of it that you can actually type on top. Or if you're like me and you like paper and pencil, you can print it out and make copies for the entire year. But what I really recommend to help you fix the stress of your literacy block right now is just focusing on 1 week at a time, being present in the current week that you're working on. And then when you're planning for that week, whenever you do, sitting down and just planning for 1 week ahead. Because we all know that things come up during the week. A lesson might not go as well as planned, or you might have to revisit something. So if you're planning a month ahead, that could be why you're so overwhelmed and stressed. Or if you have no plan at all, that could be a reason why you are so overwhelmed and stressed too. So this Daily 5 printable planner, or you can use it digitally, is going to help you overcome that, because it's giving you the structure that you're probably missing and helping you organize your thoughts from what you're looking at inside of your curriculum in a helpful, productive way. Making Daily 5 easier on yourself is going to take a little bit of time and practice, but I promise you, if you implement this system of planning it out 1 week at a time, for a month, you will really get in a good flow, and then you can save these planner pages and you'll have them ready for next year. And then when you're sitting down to plan, you can thumb through and say, oh, this went really well. I liked this. I didn't like how I did this. And it really shows the structure of your literacy block, so that if an administrator were to come into your room, not only are they going to be so pleased with how well your students are working and that you're pulling small groups at the same time, but you have anecdotal proof that what you're doing is working, and you have a structure to it and a rhyme and a reason to all of it. I also like using the planner page. You can flip it over on the back and make anecdotal notes about what your book clubs are doing, so that you can remember the next time what you need to work on and what skills they maybe need to revisit, or what part of the book that you were on. I love having those notes because it helps me when I go to parent-teacher conference time to thumb through them and remember what we worked on, so I can make individualized comments for every student and not put the burden on myself that I have to remember remember every single thing from every single day from that whole trimester, because we have a lot on our brains as teachers, and if we can have it written down somewhere else, it really takes the pressure off. So remember, you can grab my Daily 5 printable planner absolutely for free in the comments below. Leave me a comment letting me know how you like it. I'd love to hear how it's working for you, or take a picture and tag me over on social media at Literacy Fundamentals, and I want to see the planner in action. And I truly hope that it helps you get focused and have structure to your literacy block, because that is the missing key to alleviating some of the stress that you're likely feeling at this time of the year. And remember, there's never a good time to start something. So if you're like, well, it's already this month and I'm feeling like I don't want to start a new routine, remember that planning it out ahead of time really is going to help. So it doesn't matter what time of year you're starting. You could start Daily 5 in February if you wanted to. That does not matter. It is the structure. And if you're seeking some kind of structure because your literacy block feels chaotic, I highly recommend it. And I appreciate you so much for watching my videos, and I look forward to seeing the planner in action. See you next week.